Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel Myers. Welcome to My Horror Confessional. Typically, every week we have a guest come on to talk about a classic horror movie that they haven't seen. However, this week we're going to do something a little bit different. I have my friend Gerardo Preciado on, and he was on in the past, and we spoke about Deep Red, Profundo Rosso, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And but when he was here last time, we were promoting the Kickstarter for his movie Narco Shark. And that was, he was going to be producing his first movie and directing his first movie and all this sort of stuff. So we're talking about that. Well, now the movie's come out and I got a chance to see it and it's absolutely amazing. And so he's here to talk about that and he's here to talk about, what's coming up in the future. So Gerardo, welcome back to My Horror Confessional.
Thank you so much for having me again. And yeah, I'm really happy to see you and happy to talk to you again.
Yeah, the same. We were talking a bit before the recording, and you and I were scheduled to do a movie back in November of last year, and life kicked me in the butt, and like I just stopped recording for like probably 6 months from January to about June of this year. I just stopped recording, so I'm now back into it, feeling really good, and so I'm really really happy to have you on. So since we last talked, it's been about a year and a half or so. What have you been up to? You
Yeah,
obviously
well,
released a dope ass movie called Narco Shark, right?
yeah, well, we talked, yeah, a little over a year ago, before just as the Kickstarter was launching for Narco Shark. So basically, for 1 year, I finished the movie. That's the whole year. Like, we started talking at first because I do like the imaginary soundtracks,
Yes.
and so I used to, for example, a year before the past year that I made Narco Shark, I made like 7 imaginary soundtracks for different, like Terror 5 or Zombiria 4 or this and that, and also write comic books. But this past year that I've been doing Narco Shark, I haven't been able to do anything else because it's so consuming to make a movie and to be kind of like director, that you have
Yeah.
so many things. And also, because I'm doing a lot of the things, so I'm editing and I do basically most of the things except a friend of mine who made help me with the special effect, like the shark stuff. But we can get into that and how it was made. But yeah,
Yeah.
basically doing the movie was very time consuming, which is I think it's a new thing for me. I think this is the next thing that I should be doing, is focusing on one thing instead of 8 different things at the time. But but yeah, just is making a movie. I already knew that it was hard, but it's a miracle that if a movie gets made, and
Yeah.
especially when you have zero like this is not a low budget, it's not even zero budget, it's below that. Like, you watch the movie and it steals money from you while you watch it. It's the negative budget. But yeah, that's what. And now the like the past month, I've also been doing like the working on the trailer for the upcoming one, because it was really important for me to finish and start the next one. I'm doing like the next movie is called Tetractys, and this is like the concept of this like came to me from like 20 years ago or something. This is when I started writing comic books. I did it's called a blog or like an editorial thing with my friend Daniel Baylis, and the reason we made all those comic books was because we were going to make a graphic novel that was called Tetractys. That was the whole reason. This was over like almost 20 years ago, and so
Okay.
I had that story in my mind for like 20 years. Now the story has changed in those 20 years, but I always have that like on my mind. That I don't know how to describe it, but there's things like, I don't want to sound too crazy, but like some like visions of stuff that I'm pulled to do, and this is like the one thing that I've been like building up for a lot of years to make this thing. So when I decided, and I also told you last time that you were one of the a very few people that were like, I want to see you make a movie. And to me was like, oh, that was really inspiring, that the people, I don't know, like you were, again, very few people I felt that were interested in that you make me think like, yeah, why don't I make a movie? So when I decided to make a movie, I'm going to make this movie Tetractys that I've had for a long time. And when I was developing, I thought that it was too much for the first film, and too weird. And so I made Narco Shark, which is a super weird film. But Narco Shark was, to me, was like it was going to be a lot of fun. It was going to have the ninjas, and the people around it are going to have a lot of fun making it. So I thought Narco Shark in a way was a lot harder, but I think it was a much better way to start, like the first movie. So I knew before making Narco Shark that I was going to jump straight into Tetractys. After Tetractys, maybe I say no more movies, never, is too hard. But I know that I have to make this one. After that, who knows? But
Okay.
this is, to me, it feels like the thing that I was born to do. This is everything that I started doing, music and everything leads up to this thing. Now, I don't know what's going to happen after that. But so in a
After
way,
that
it's
is
kind.
Sister Panda.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that was a surprise. That is something we can talk about. That Sister Panda wasn't on the script for Narco Shark, for instance. So that was making the movie. I had a plan, but I have to change a lot of the things that were on the screenplay. And
Mhm.
I made this through Kickstarter, and one of the rewards was a book. And that's one of the things that I'm very excited about, is that in the book I have, like, because I have friends that want to make comic books and movies and write and stuff, and I think that I know why they get stuck and don't, like, because the ideas sometimes are too much to 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 make it. So in the screenplay I wrote, like, what I started with Narco Shark. For me, the first thing I made was a poster, and I drew. Actually, gonna give me a second. Oh no, I don't have it. But I made a poster where there's like a Mexican action hero with a mustache with a gun, and then I put a shark on it, and then I put like a stripper, and then I put a ninja in it. And when I put a ninja, it's when it became something that I was really interested in. And then I put the catchphrase, like, the Mexican Yakuza is after him. And that was when I thought, I have to make this. It's so ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so when I wrote the screenplay, and actually, I mean, I think that the movie is very ridiculous and over the top and stuff, and a lot of it is kind of nonsense in a way, but I had a review from a person in Japan, and I'm very proud of this review, because he's like, he said, basically he said, like, this is a person who loves shark movies, and so Narco Shark is not really a shark movie, like an shark exploitation movie.
Mhm.
It's more like an action surreal comedy. But the guy that this review on Twitter, he was like, I was disappointed about all the stupid things that were happening in the movie, but I was surprised as the movie advanced how it all started to tie together, all the stupid things. And I was very proud of that, because I did put a lot of effort in the screenplay to tie things up, and to everything that happens has a reason for that thing happening. And I'm very proud of a lot of twists and turns that are foreshadowed in the screenplay before then.
Mhm.
But again, a lot of things change. Going back to what the book, I have the poster, the idea, then how I develop it to like a 5-page treatment, then I have the screenplay. And then when you see I have a production diary where I detail, like, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that, so I have to make this. Like, for instance, Sister Panda is not in the screenplay, but there was so we're gonna go full spoilers
Yeah,
because
there's going
so
to be some spoilers in it, but honestly, you can't really spoil this movie because
yeah,
it's not so much about the plot. You know, there's the plot as well. It's the journey along the way and all the
yeah,
visuals
exactly.
and the humor. The humor you have, like, I was surprisingly like more sophisticated than I thought for a movie named Narco Shark, right? It's not like dick jokes and like you know, stepping in a pile of poop or something. Like there's it's silly, it's really silly, but there's some really funny stuff in here. And you play the title role,
Yeah,
right? You play, is it Ricky Valente?
yeah, Ricky Valente. See,
Ricky Valente. And your expressions and your delivery, I think, is a lot of times what makes the joke funny. I think, have you done any acting before?
well, back when we were kids, I have an older brother, and he's like the director of the house. He's like the movie guy in the house and everything. And so when I was a kid, when I was 12, 13, I started appearing on the short films, short movies, shot on VHS straight from a huge camera.
Mm.
And so yeah, I've done some. I mean, I will not call it acting, but I've been on these short homemade movies. And one of the things, yeah, is that the reason I made this by most of the stuff by myself is not because I wanted to do everything myself. It's because I have no choice. No one else is gonna do it. And also what I tell my friends who are in the film is that and no one is gonna be more embarrassed by this than me. Like no one, I'm not going to ask you to make something stupid that I'm not gonna do myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, the reason I made it was because there was no one else that could made it, and because it had to be me. I have to wanted to take on the responsibility of making it, and also like you said, like a lot of it is another reason for doing all this stuff is learning to do it. So I did, like, I don't know if you know, but I did all the voices for all the characters. I recorded all the voices and the sound effects I made, and I made the music and all the stuff.
So the ADR was you, like you didn't have like mics clipped to there because probably it costs more money, right?
Yeah, well, one is, you know, that was one of the decisions that I made very early on. That was a huge decision, and I think that I worked out well. Was I'm not gonna record audio at all.
Mm.
Two, so if you see like a lot of the people are speaking Spanish, if you see the mouth move, they're not
Yeah.
actually speaking in English
I mean, that's great
because
because that's exactly what, like, this type of movie it happened. They were dubbed over by English speakers. So it goes perfectly well. It's not out of
yeah,
place.
and but that does is it saves a lot of time. if i have to if I have the actors to learn, because the other thing was, very early on, I think I brought the screenplay like the first day, and then I didn't bring the screenplay at all. Like I just translated the lines because the screenplay was in English. I translated it into Spanish, and so I have an actor, and I tell them, just basically, you are a drug dealer and the ninjas show up, and I'm gonna feed you the lines uh, out of camera. So
Mhm.
I will tell them that what they were going to say, and they will just repeat it. And so that also helps because I don't know how to explain this, but these people were not acting like they were not acting bad on purpose. They were just not given anything to work on. Like I sabotage their performance so they will not know what to do, and that's what happens on those movies. They don't know they don't know what they're doing, so
Yeah.
they didn't have time to learn the lines or anything. So I just tell them, do this, do that, and I told them, like, I don't care if you mess up the lines, it's okay. And also, another huge advantage, we have ninjas, so I added a lot of lines. Yeah, I added a lot of lines afterwards. So yeah, if I've had recorded audio, it would have been impossible because we shot for like periods of 2 hours. Just get like, we shot like in garbage sites, in
Yeah.
this
No
in this my
permits?
no, come on.
Guerrilla filmmaking?
Yeah, completely. And actually, I was scared for the guns and stuff. So, but the other thing, like these people are friends, like 40-year-old people, friends who have families, who on a Sunday, so it was very surreal. Like we were on a garbage site, and like the floor was horrible. You can see like layers and layers of filth, and so
Yeah.
I have this character who's called like the sidekick from Ricky, the main character is called Tito, and he's got fake teeth.
The fake teeth. Yeah, yeah.
And so we're on the garbage side. We have like with no water, no soap, no anything. So I'm like, be careful with stuff. And so first day of shooting, he drops like Oscar, is the name of friend who plays Tito, who dies before. So the teeth fell out to the floor of this, like,
Oh,
disgusting. And so I guess he saw the face that I made. I was like, in my face, like in a nanosecond, I thought we have to drive somewhere to wash the thing, come back. There's 2 hours, and so he saw my face, and he just goes, it puts it right. So that's the kind of, this is day one, and so the movie is filled with stuff like that. The accidents, happy accidents.
yeah. That's amazing. The dedication that's what you need from your friends and your family.
Yeah,
But let me ask you a question. And I think you were telling me this, like, because it took you a while to record all the scenes, and then you were in post-production for a bit. Um, you lost the actor who played Tito, right? Right?
yeah.
Because like he couldn't show up for the days that you needed to record. So you had like an ingenious workaround for that. Could you explain to the audience what you ended up doing for that?
Yeah, so yeah, that's one of the examples of you read the book, you see that in the screenplay that wasn't there. It was just a character. So Oscar Montes is the name of my friend. I've known him since we were like 11 or 12 years old, and he was actually in our short films back in the day. Like I tell him that he has over 25 years of experience acting, because he's done like every short film that we made since we were kids. So when I was going to make the movie, before I wrote the screenplay, I talked to him like, I'm going to make this movie. I want you to be part of this. And so I really need you to commit to this. Like, I want to make sure you're going to be there. And he was like, I swear on my grave, on whatever. Okay, so I wrote the character thinking of him, because I didn't know if he wasn't going to make the movie, I would have not written that character. That's how I envision the.
Yeah.
So this is before even writing it. So I write the screenplay, and we start shooting day one. That's when the teeth thing happened, and so we make the Kickstarter, and now it's like, we're gonna start the movie, right? Because the things we shot was for the trailer, to make sure we had something for the trailer. And just as we are about to shoot the movie, he says, I'm gone out of town for like 3 months, like the whole shoot, right? And so, but by this point, like I changed my mindset. Like you talk about having some rough times. I have some really rough times myself, and I think that changed me in a way that I started to see like tragedy or things going wrong like an opportunity. Like I was really upset for like 15 minutes. Like, like, how am I going? This is like the second lead character. He's in like 80% of the movie, this character Tito.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? So then I come up like, okay, how can this tragedy turn into making the film better? And then I thought like, oh, what if we did like when the Brandon Lee died on the set of The Crow, and we digitally finished his performance, and it's obviously not gonna look good. So I thought that's gonna look stranger. And so I called my friend like Ricardo, who does the special effects, and basically, can we do this? Can we put the face of Tito or another actor? And he said, sure, without knowing anything. And so I thought, okay. Then now the movie starts with this actor died during production, and I've never seen that, and I thought that was really funny. And also, this is what when we started shooting, and the process of putting the face on the several actors, because I thought it's going to be really funny if there are different actors playing this guy, and we see this guy's face, but he has like different body types, and so I chose different body types, and and myself, I play Tito a lot of the time actually, and so I thought that it was gonna look, more or less like all right, and when it turned out that we could not make this work, it was gonna look horrible. Like Ricardo needed another year to make this look good. I thought, okay, this is again, instead of being sad because it doesn't look good, is like, oh, this is awesome. It looks horrible. It looks so creepy. So I added the line that it's the setups, the joke, which is in the beginning, which is this is like so good technology that you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And then when Tito comes out like 10 minutes after that, it's like, what? I mean, a friend of mine cried when he saw that out of laughter. He cried because he's so stupid.
But it's so fucking funny. And then you have the image coming in and out, so you see whoever actor at that time, you see their face.
Yeah, but that's so what's funny about it is also because there's a scene in the movie where there's Ricky takes Tito to a gigolo, to basically to a prostitute, and that day there was another actor who was going to play Tito. But I tell the actors, like, if you're not comfortable doing something, let me know. I put on the makeup. If you don't want to be, if whatever, I play Sister Panda, whatever. I do it if you're not comfortable. So this guy was like, no, I'll do the scene, like explain this guy is going to be on top of you. It's going to be really creepy. And so my friend, he was like, no, it's cool. And once my friend showed up, like this actor puts me to the senses, rather not do this. So I put on the Tito costume, right? And that, again, that was an accident because in the movie, that's when you see that it's me, that is Ricky, it's like, oh, reality is breaking. And now you see that, and that was an accident. That wasn't, again, on the screen. Like the movie got weirder, the more of the process of making it, that was how these things started to appear, like these other meanings. Like the movie has, and it's on one level, it's a very stupid, silly movie with stupid, silly comedy in it, but it has different levels of. That's what I wanted to do, like something that has different levels that you can understand, and and in all the craziness, there's like a design under it, and I don't want to. I mean, it's a stupid film. I don't want to like sound like this is a super smart movie, but I put a lot of effort in the way that things happen in the movie.
Yeah, and at one point it becomes kind of like a time loop / like multiverse sort of thing. And one of the shots that I was so impressed with was when, I don't remember the setup, but essentially we saw earlier that a gun was missing out of the holster. And then later in the movie, we see that Ricky reaches back into time to take that gun. And I was like, oh shit, like that makes sense. Like it was very, very impressive, very fun, very, very cool.
Yeah, that was a device that is the moment where the movie tells you that there's a design. Before that, it all looks like it's nonsense and it's all stupid things. But that the moment Ricky reaches for the gun, who already went missing like 10 minutes before, that's when it's supposed to be a message to the audience to, oh, everything you've seen is going to pay off somehow. And there's like 3 or 4 twists that happens in the movie that are foreshadowed on the movie before. But one of the twists, I sacrificed, like I made it really obvious who the golden ninja was. Like I keep pushing, like, is this the golden ninja? Is it every, like, from the start of the movie?
Yeah.
And that was also a design so that, in these kind of movies that you're gonna have like a twist at the end. So that was okay, I'm gonna sacrifice this twist, but then we're gonna have the other twist and the other twist and another. So it has like a 3 endings, the movie after
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so but
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no. Yeah,
Well,
thank you for noticing that. That is the moment where the movie kind of, this goes like in another gear, I think.
yeah. So let me ask you a question here, because I wanna talk about where you're at with the Kickstarter, and then I want to talk about your next project. But first, I want from you. So this is a low budget, I mean, no budget filmmaking, but you still created it, and it came out, and it was great. It was fun, and you said it was like a miracle. What was like a high point for you in making the film, and what was like a low point for you in making the film?
Yeah, I think that the high point really was, it's gonna sound weird, but I was watching like several months ago The Goonies with I have a 7-year-old son,
Okay.
and he's never seen it, and I haven't seen it like in 30 years or something, that movie. And when I watched the movie, I realized, oh, that's what we're making. Like, and this movie was like an adventure with my friends, because again, like Oscar eventually returned, like the Tito, the actor who plays Tito, he eventually returned and he played a little bit of Tito. He plays a little bit of the Golden Ninja. So he was he came back and he did shoot some stuff. And Ricardo, who is like he was the main camera operator and made the special effects. I'm also known him since I was like 15. So it was a lot of friends, like the Gigolo character, another friend of mine from like we were 15. So it was, when I saw the Goonies, I thought, oh, this is like when we were kids making something, like having an adventure. And to me, that was the most special thing, was having my friends, and every day we shot, I laugh so hard, like it was so stupid the things I asked them to do or they did to me or something.
Yeah.
And so we're like in high points, there were a lot of high points in that, scenes that when we recorded certain scenes, like not to, I mean, who cares, right? But there's a scene where Tito like drinks his own piss, his own urine, and I
Yeah.
laughed so hard and actually I recorded that scene with another actor who was playing Tito, and I laughed my ass off. So when we got Oscar back, I said, we're gonna shoot that again with you, because he was like, the stream of pee was on his face. It was gonna be a really difficult to superimpose the face on that. So that was like a highlight. Sister Panda was a highlight for sure that day that we recorded it.
I want to talk about her
Yeah,
again, but
and as far as low points, I think, I don't know, to be a director, I never considered myself like a director or filmmaker or anything like that. I always consider myself like a writer, and while making this movie, I realized like what a director is, and a director is a lot like, imagine if you're a father, and you have a child, and you just lost your job, the car is not running, you're gonna get evicted from your apartment, and everything goes wrong. But when the child asks you, how are things going, you say everything is great. Because you are the last line. You have to always be positive and pushing and finding ways to make things happen.
yeah.
And so, yeah, like the moment Oscar told me he wasn't going to make it, that was a low point. But again, now that I'm older, enough things happen in my life that I know that one again, I took the stand of, how does this make the movie better, like make it funny,
Yeah. That's a great
us
attitude to have.
yeah, and also, I mean, it has Mexicans because of the history of the country and everything. I don't think this is exclusive to Mexicans. I think it's human nature, but speaking as a Mexican, and I think that Mexicans have a sense of humor about tragedy just because how everything happens, and in politics and stuff from, the whole history of the country. So we already have that built in, like making fun of things that happen. So I can't pinpoint, like definitely like finishing the thing, like because these were people, these actors who again have jobs, have families, have stuff, and they got sick or they whatever. So sometimes when they cancel, like it was a huge setback, like for me, because now it's 2 weeks that I can't do anything, or another week, or another, because we shot mostly on weekends. And I actually just remember a low point, like the very last day of shooting. Like I always have like Ricardo, again, he's the camera operator, and because I'm on screen a lot of the time, and for instance, like just to get back to the point, there were times where I live is like one of the hottest places in the world. Like sometimes I remember seeing a shot like my city this day at this hour is the hottest place on earth, in like the desert of Sahara and the blah blah blah. And so when we first started shooting, it was July, like the hottest, and we have these ninjas in this like the fabric for the ninja costumes. Well, for the ninja costume was made by my mother first, but the ninja costume was almost like aluminum. I don't know if I'm saying the word, like foil, the aluminum paper, like.
Yeah.
So they were frying inside the ninja costumes, and because of the heat and the sweat and the sun, we set up the camera, and then something happened to the camera where it was moved. And when I got the files of the shots, I saw like, oh, the framing is wrong. Like instead of being this like the frame that's natural, the frame was off. And again, like for a minute, I was like, oh my god. And then that's perfect. That's perfect. That's what bad movies look like Samurai Cop. The framing is like super weird, and so everything bad is like, I always try to make everything good. I say good is good, and then what's bad is also good. But just
can I just say one thing, Gerardo, real quick? You just said something that's very important, is that when somebody sets out to make a bad movie, you can tell right away, and it's like, I'm not interested in that, but I'm interested in somebody who is trying to make a good movie, and things happen along the way, and they're like, fuck it, the show goes on, we're going to continue to make this movie. And that is what's charming about it. That's what's charming about your movie. That's what's fun about it. This isn't like these movies aren't going to be nominated for Oscars or anything like that. We're not in that category. That's what you're not trying to do. You're trying to make a fun movie with your friends for other people to watch. Like, this is a movie to watch a bunch of people together and just laugh your ass off, right? It's a good time sort of movie. And the way you put it there is exactly how I feel about these types of movies.
You're like 100% what the intention was. The intention was never to make a bad movie. It's not like, I'm gonna make a ironically bad movie. The reason why I think it's funny is because we failed at everything. We failed. We wanted to make a good shark. It doesn't look great. We wanted to make, for instance, in the screenplay, at the beginning, it starts with a transaction from the ninjas and the narcos, and so I couldn't. I wanted to go to the sea. We have a beach near, like an hour away, but even that hour away was too much for us to. And so looking for location, and so I decided, you know what, garbage site. Fuck it, So, and then that starts to add up. And again, like my friend Ricardo, who does the again special effects, it's not that I told him this, if you had more time, if you had like better equipment, better software, I know that he could do something that would look a lot better, but we didn't have the time and we didn't have the equipment, and so instead of crying about all this, like this, the people who do those bad movies, they're trying their best, but at the same time it's like they don't care that much, and also you make another point, which is this is a crowd movie. The other inspiration for these movies that I had before COVID and stuff, like I had a movie club, and where friends will go, like 10, 12 friends will come and see a movie, and the rules were that nobody knew what the movie was, because I wanted to be a surprise. And because these days you can watch a trailer, Wikipedia, and be an expert in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So and my friends love that they didn't know what they were going to watch. So I wanted to make a movie that you were going to turn around to your friend like, is this really happening? Am I seeing what I'm seeing right now?
Yeah.
So yeah. So thank you for picking that up, because that was the intention, that making something. When I think I mentioned this before, but like the one thing that I want the movie is to not be boring, to be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And so
yes,
that is
it's
why
very, very entertaining. You did a great job on that. Let me ask you a question real quick. What did you shoot on? Did you shoot on digital camera? Did you shoot on video?
Yeah, so I say that we shot in an iPhone from 1984, like the iPhone minus 12, or I don't know. Like we shot on Ricardo's phone. That's all I know. Like I'm like the least technical
Technical.
person. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't care about anything like hardware, software. That's not. Not to say that it's not important, but it's not. To me, the other, like for instance, like I told you before, like my brother is a director and he shoots like short films, and we made a documentary called Cult of VHS that actually premiered on Fright Fest in London, and he's done a lot of things. And when I pitched him the idea at first, I wanted him to direct it, because when we were kids, like I would write it and be maybe the main character, and he will direct it. That was kind of like the deal we had.
Yeah.
And when I told him I want this movie to look horrible, he was like, I don't want to do that. I want to mess up my career,
Yeah.
But that was a challenge. Can we make a movie that's everything is wrong, everything is made horribly, nothing works, but the story or the characters or the situation are entertaining enough that you finish it and you have a good time for it. And a lot of these movies, these bad movies, what they have is that you have, like, I knew, for instance, talking about Narco Shark, I knew they were going to have the shark at the beginning, shark at the end, shark in the middle. Not a lot of shark because we didn't have like the budget or the technology or anything. But my reasoning was, how can we make the filler the best part of the movie? Like the part where is when you watch these movies, there are parts that are very boring and slow, and I thought that has to be the best part of the movie, that you forget about the shark, that you forget, because you're like, what's gonna happen, what is happening here with these characters,
Yeah.
And so that's what a lot of the intention behind doing it that way.
That's cool. So let's talk about, so you successfully kickstarted the making of the movie Narco Shark, and within the last month or so you sent out the link for the digital one, and you're fulfilling all the things that came with the Kickstarter campaign. But well, one question real quick is, are there any plans, where are people who didn't do the Kickstarter, how would they be able to watch this movie?
Yeah, so obviously, like I said, it was very hard finishing the movie. By the time I was almost finished with the movie, it's like a pregnancy where you're like, no more, I don't want another child, And but when I knew that I was going to make another movie right away. So I say that it's like I gave birth to Narco Shark from like a 9-month very hard pregnancy, and then I go to the doctor the next day and he says, oh, by the way, you're pregnant and you have 6 months of pregnancy. That's like what it felt like making another movie. But to answer your question, yeah, I finished the movie. I sent it out to the backers. I'm still doing like the DVDs and the physical stuff. The book is something that I'm really proud of because it came over 200 pages of the screenplay for Narco Shark is only 60 pages, but the book is 200 pages because it has a lot of stuff in it. And we're working on that takes a little bit more time, but now I'm working on the new movie while I'm working on the works. And the idea is to have it available digitally in probably early next year. Maybe, I mean, I don't know exactly how long it's gonna take, but I'm gonna work on on making like the Spanish subtitles, the English subtitles, and so on. But yeah, that it's gonna be available for everyone, maybe hopefully early next year. But I wanted to give the backers first and give like a little window of, let it rest a little bit for myself. Like I've seen the movie like 100 times and just a little bit of and now I feel like again I feel I don't feel that tired anymore. Like when I was going to finish it, like I had a week where I did all the voices and I was like so tired and I couldn't speak because a lot of the characters are like yelling and stuff. But right now I feel like I'm ready for the next one. And after that, who knows? Like I have ideas for like 3 or 4 other films, but yeah. So Narco
So are you
Shark
gonna?
definitely.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So it will be available hopefully in January, February. I don't know how long it takes, but yeah, I'm working on that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really excited for others to be able to watch this because it's so much fun. And if you didn't get a chance to go in on the Kickstarter, you should follow Gerardo. So I'm sure you're going to post about it when it's available digitally. Can you let everybody know? And this isn't the end. We're going to continue talking about the new movie, but right now, could you just let everybody know how they can follow you to keep up to date with news on Narco Shark and the other stuff coming out?
Yeah, well, let's just search my name is Gerardo Preciado on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and my handle is Música di Diable, MUSIKEDIDIABLE. I think it's spelled. It's very hard to spell in another language, by the way. But and the new by the time I don't know exactly when this episode is going to be up, but probably the trailer for Tetractys is going to be there in the Kickstarter for that movie. Which, if you've seen Narco Shark, is not a sequel, but it's kind of continuation from the story.
Okay, so let's talk about the new movie. So the new movie is, can you say it again? The name of it's Tetractys?
Yeah, Tetractys.
Okay. And you sent me the poster for it, or some of the art for it, I should say. It says, from the visionary director of Narco Shark, Tetractys, and it's giving Metropolis vibes a bit.
Yeah,
right?
well, actually, if you the poster is like a recreation from the Iron Maiden album, The Number of the Beast. But I don't know if you have the strings and stuff. That was the inspiration behind it, and I wanted the artist to have that like a old horror movie vibe, and it does have that a little bit. And it has, like, again, if you've seen that, we've talked a lot of, again, since we first met, like the imaginary soundtracks, and I was still like, this is music from movies from another dimension and things like that. And so when I was making Narco Shark, at first I didn't plan on connecting it with the new film, which again was the first film that I was going to make. But then I was making Narco Shark, I thought, oh, this has a lot of layers. Maybe it could be like, because the idea from Narco Shark was, this was made by a crazy person. This wasn't made by me. Like, actually, in a way, I wish that I didn't put directed by Gerardo Preciado, because it would be better for me, like the stranger, like it's another person, but that was too much for everyone involved, So, but so the new movie is basically the story of the guy who directed Narco Shark, but it's still a very surreal movie. Like it's not like we're gonna see this director in the real world. This is more like the subconscious of this director, like this in this world where he has to deal with his childhood traumas and stuff. And you're gonna see a lot of mirrors and like stuff that the same. You don't have to see Narco Shark to see Tetractys and get it. I think. I mean, I haven't made it, so I don't know. But you're gonna see a lot of the elements like why do directors do certain things a lot of the time. There is maybe an unconscious thing, like a trauma that they have, like they focus on certain things. And when you see the new trailer, you're gonna see like echoes of Narco Shark. Like you can see, oh, I can see why this person made a movie so crazy like that, and has those elements, but in a different setting, in a totally different kind of vibe. Also, this like Narco Shark was inspired like what would you call like trash cinema, like
Mhm.
movies, like and to me like everything is language, you know. So I'm speaking to you in English. I don't know every word in the English dictionary. I know enough words in English to be able to express myself to you. I know enough words in Spanish to be able to speak Spanish. And the same thing goes for like for music, like the guitar. Like the guitar is a language. So if you can know like 100 guitar chords, or you can know three, but maybe with those three you can express yourself. So language is what you express yourself with, right? But language is not the message. Language is not what you want to say with it. So Narco Shark, we use the language of trash cinema. And now with the Tetractys, is more like using the language of like art house cinema. Like this is going to be like black and white, very super pretentious, you know, which I love, by the way, like and surreal and strange, but also it's kind of like it's going to have those elements of also of low budget, because in the 80s, like the Italians, they made like ripoffs of Alien, Terminator, whatever, you know, those big movies, because they took Terminator and they make their version, and they knew that they could make money from it, right? But they didn't say, oh, let's do a ripoff of Eraserhead, you know, because there's no money in that. But I started to wonder, what if, you know, these trash cinema filmmakers, trash filmmakers rip off those movies, like art house movies like Stalker or Eraserhead or other films like that. And so that's also the inspiration from it. Is so what I'm telling is a different language, in that it's not the language of trash cinema, it's another language, but it's a continuation of everything. Again, everything that I've ever done, I think, has led up to this, like the first albums that I recorded, like all
Mhm.
this other dimensions stuff. Like this is a movie about that place where these things exist, and you go and you bring them here. I don't know if I'm not making any sense,
It
but
makes perfect sense. It's like, I mean, now in the world we live in, everybody understands a multiverse because of the cinematic, like the Marvel's cinematic universe, the MCU. And so it just sounds like you're making, you know, the Preciado verse or something like that, where like they can live in the same world or the same universe, but not necessarily a sequel to it, like you were saying, you know. And it sounds really exciting. I got to tell you, listening to you, you sound like a mad genius. You sound like somebody who just like has all these ideas and they want to get it out and just like put it out into the world. And I think you're extremely talented. I think that you're, like I said, you have like this deep knowledge of like horror and like just the world that allows you to like make this sort of stuff. And I really am excited to hear, you know, to see the Kickstarter go live for to track this, and like to see what you're able to make from it. I'm sure you're gonna have your friends in there again and have like as many like free labor as you could get. And I'm excited to see, you know, from the beginning what the script looks like to the actual movie that's on that we see. It's probably going to be completely different, but like you're able to like keep going because nothing's going to stop you from getting this out of your head and into the world, you know.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. But actually, it's so interesting that you mentioned this, because there's another thing that I wanted to talk about, is that this is going to be very different from Narco Shark, in the sense that Narco Shark, again, if you see the movie, you're gonna think like, what is this, you know? But I put a lot of effort into the screenplay, the structure, like the mirroring of the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you ever talk about, but I actually studied architecture. I am an architect, and obviously I've been doing music for a while.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I could see like the similarities of architecture and music, like both have like a rhythm or a geometry, like or you know, or it can
Yeah.
be a very a lot of detail in the thing, or it can be very simple or monumental or small, and all that kind of stuff. And so I was, when it came to writing, I always felt like it was another part of my brain. Like, it was really hard, and not to say that it's easy for me to write, but I didn't connect those two ideas until I started really studying like the screenplay. And then I realized, like, this is the same thing. Like, a screenplay has a geometry, a symmetry, or whatever. You can break those rules, you can, you know. But that was with Narco Shark, the idea. But with this movie Tetractys, I'm going to do another thing that I've been experimenting with a while now. I was when we talk about the imaginary soundtracks, I was talking to Max, your friend Max, and
Yes.
he was the one who made me realize something that I didn't know. Because when I used to make like those like Zombiria 2, Zombiria 3, on all these soundtracks, I will get up very early, like at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I started recording music. And then I left it, and then like this will go on for a couple of weeks of recording music. But because I wasn't awake enough yet, like a couple of weeks later, when I listen to the music, I have no recollection of recording anything. So it
Yeah.
was, and but this wasn't because I wanted to make an experiment, or you know, it was because of necessity. I didn't have the time. I had like a full-time job and baby and all the stuff, so that was the only time I was able to do it. But then when I talked to Max, he was like, so you're making hypnagogic art. And so I thought, like, I never heard that. Then I started to explore that, and yeah, so there's people who make art while they, same thing, like they're sleep deprived, or they don't sleep for days and they start to hallucinate and stuff. And so I started to make music. Like, I made an album earlier this year that I mean, nobody, it's okay, nobody listens to it, it's okay, but I think it's like my best work, in the sense that that was the first time that I consciously applied it to a work of music. Like, I wrote the lyrics while I was sleeping. I recorded the songs while I was sleeping, and the story of that album is called Night Creatures of the Night. Because stupid title
Yeah.
also, because I had like I'm not to sound too crazy, but I do have like these kinds of visions, messages, or whatever you want to call it. I
Okay.
always follow this. I always follow when I have like I could tell you some very crazy stories of things that the visions that later happen. So I would, when I have a little vision or something, I follow it. So I have this two named like Night Creatures, or Creatures of the Night, and I couldn't decide. So Night Creatures of the Night it is, combined.
Yeah.
But what I did was that I found out that unconsciously you write other stuff, and this is also very interesting. And so what I want to do with the Tetractys is, I'm not going to write a screenplay. I have an idea where the story is going, but it's basically just close my eyes and write stuff, and I'm like, what? I'm surprised. And it's I have a little some scenes that I'm going to shoot that are incredible, that the I don't know, you can't get to that with your brain turned on. So I
Okay.
have a lot of friends, and this is again. Now I'm going to like. Now it's making sense why I make Narco Shark. Like, oh, this guy's crazy.
No, 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 no. This is
But
exact. I mean, you're talking about an art house film. You sound like an art house director.
Yeah, no, but also like I've written many comic books and stuff, and I was tell my friends like when I started making music, like again almost 20 years ago, that's what the music is what tells me where to go, the ideas and what I'm going to explore. It's not like I'm going to make a movie about this because I'm an expert at this. Is I'm called to something and I learned by doing that. I'm not. I don't know if I'm explaining myself,
Yeah.
but so again, so with this movie, it's like exploring the unconscious, like maybe it's to unconsciously unconscious make this movie. The story, it has, I know things that have meaning, some things I don't know what they mean yet, but they do have meaning because it came from somewhere, those ideas. So that's why this movie is going to be very different.
Okay.
And but I'm really excited because when I tell you this is a black and white pretentious art house film, it sounds like oh, it's gonna be super boring. But I'm very excited because that's the challenge. Again, like with Narco Shark, is how do I make a film that looks horrible? The light is horrible, the effects are horrible, everything is horrible, but make it entertaining. Now I have this other challenge. How I make this, there's very dense of layers of meanings, sacred meanings and messages and stuff. How do I make that entertaining? And that's the challenge. And I'm really excited to, I think that I can pull it off because I learned a lot from this, like, and this not gonna have a lot of other actors. Like I'm gonna play a lot of the actors because that's again with the insanity of this, the part, like to me, there's like a line where if you make something that is you're sure that is good, like it's probably not very good. You have to be in a line where is this the worst idea or the best idea? It can go either way. That's where the magic is for me. Like you can fail very hard and that's okay. Like I'm very excited about failure, like the idea of completely failing and everything. That's equally exciting to me as making something great,
Yeah.
and it's not like being a pretentious. Again, you don't want to make something bad on purpose because it's not funny, but it's okay to fail. It's okay to try. Like the what I want is to make a big swing even if I miss. That's
Yeah.
the idea for yeah.
Okay. So I'm really excited to see, when the trailer drops and when the Kickstarter. So do you have an idea of when the Kickstarter is going to be going live for this one?
Yeah, October 18, the trailer and the Kickstarter is going live.
Okay. And they can follow you. You gave your socials. So everybody, please go follow Gerardo. If you supported Narco Shark, please take a look at the Kickstarter when it comes out. I'm sure you're gonna love it. And if you didn't support Narco Shark, now's your chance to support Gerardo with his new movie. It's important that we support directors and creators who are not in the big what's the word I'm trying to say, like big production houses, right? Independent indie filmmaking is very important, and no budget filmmaking is very important. And Gerardo has been doing Kickstarters for a very long time. He did Kickstarters for a bunch of his albums. That's kind of like how I found you, through another podcast. And I got one of your albums. I think Santa's Little Helper, or Satan's Little Helper, or something like that. Or I can't, I forget the name of
Yeah,
the
My Little Slasher, I think it was.
yeah, My Little Slashers. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. My Little Slasher. And that was amazing. And so, he did he has experience with the Kickstarters. He kickstarted already Narco Shark, and he's completing that, and he's ready for a new one. So yeah, if you can support, follow him on social medias, share the post when it goes live, all that sort of stuff. The more eyes that we can get on there, the better it's going to be, so that we can help support indie filmmaking like this. So I think it's really important. That's really important that we can do. So before we end the show, Gerardo, was there anything else that you wanted to say about Narco Shark, or about the new one coming up, or anything like that?
Well, no, but just thank you for everything, and yes, this is made like when I do, and I'm not to be negative or a victim. I told you Kickstarter is not for, to me, it's never been about making money. It's about, I make a Kickstarter because that makes me, I have a commitment to people now. I have to do this, or there's no other way. I have to do this. And
Yeah.
so the money that we raise helps. Of course, it helps a lot. It's never going to be enough. Maybe I don't know when you at what level you have to reach to be enough. But every cent counts at this level where it's zero budget. Like I told my my friends, like when we started shooting Narco Shark, I gave everyone like nice Gatorade bottles, and by the end, then it moved to like regular water, but it was like a nice brand. And then with like a really bad brand of water. And by the end, it was like bring your own water. So
Yeah.
And the other thing you want to talk about, Sister Panda, which is very
Yes.
exciting to me that
Yes.
it was surprising to me that several people have told me that like the favorite part of it is Sister Panda, and Sister Panda wasn't on the script. Like on the screenplay, I have the commercial breaks, but there was this other character was a pill, like an aspirin. It was called little pill, but in Spanish, pastillita. He was going to be Argentinian. He was going to talk like pastillita, like a different accent.
Yeah.
But I put off like all the sister that character, put it to the end. It was gonna have puppets, and it wanna have it had a nun that was going to be skateboarding, and it was gonna have a lot of stuff on it. And I said I'm gonna shoot that until the end. And of course, we didn't have money to build the giant aspirin and stuff. But that's when it came to me, like the idea of the nun. Like we have like I can like the non-costume. I have the non-costume because we were going to do that, and I wanted Ricky to wear the non-costume anyways, to have a reason to wear it. And then I said, okay, so why I have to sell this to the actor also? It's going, oh, you're gonna be a nun, but it's gonna be like it's very scary nun, because nobody wants to do. And
Yeah.
actually, it come with the gag of the makeup being really horrible. And so at the beginning of the film, you see like a cartoon version of Sister Panda, was really pretty, like an actual panda. And then when it comes out, it's like horrible. But yeah, that's one of the things that has the film was being made. Those accidents again, and how this, instead of looking at it like oh, we lost something, we can make what I wanted to do, like, okay, how can we take this opportunity to make something funnier? And that was something. And the name is also super stupid. Like, I love
It's
Sister
so
Panda.
good. The
Sister
imagery.
Panda is here.
I want a t-shirt. I want a mug. I want a poster. Like, dude, a comic book. It's so fucking good. Like, as soon as I think we first saw the cartoon, like the illustrated commercial, I think, in the movie.
Yeah.
And then later on, when she appeared, I was like, oh, she also appears in the movie. And yeah, the makeup is the best, but that goes along with it. But
Yeah.
that's like a standout character for me from this movie. And did you play Sister Panda as well?
No, that was another actor that he played a little different roles. But if he couldn't do it, I was going to do it. But luckily, he was able to do it. And yeah, that's a character that has to come back someday. I don't
Can
know
I do?
exactly.
Have you heard of La Monja de Durango?
I haven't heard of that. No.
It's so this it's on TikTok, and there's this it's like this she's at a carnival, and she stands in the middle of one of those revolving not a roller coaster, but it's a ride where it just goes like a
Mm-hmm.
gravitron. It just goes around and around and around and around, and she stands in the middle of it, and she's got the nun mask from the nun,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's got the like crazy hands or whatever, and she just dances to the song. ¿Cómo se dice? Salieron dos monjas de Durango a las nueve
Uh-huh.
a las 2 de la mañana or something like that. I don't know who sings the song, but it's really good. And I was thinking, you if you're able to like shoot a TikTok or something like that with that song with Sister Panda. I'll send you the TikTok. You're not on TikTok, right?
No. Well,
Okay, but I'll send you the
yeah.
video. I'll send you
Okay.
video so you can take a look at it. But it's so funny, and people really like that shit. So yeah, not La Monja. Sister Panda is an amazing creation.
Yeah, and just again, just for the people who are here, like it's true what you said, like in the beginning of the podcast, is that there's so much stuff that happens in the movie that we haven't talked about at all.
Yes.
But a lot, the one of the ideas I have for the movies, we can't win on camera, we can't win on effects, we can't win or anything. But what we can win was what I call ideas per minute. Was one of the first one of the concept was that it's gonna have a lot of things happening. And one now that you said about the noun, the is you know one of the one of the characters in the movie is played by a mannequin. We haven't
Yeah, the
talked
wife,
about that at
right?
all,
Yeah.
but that was out of necessity also because in the screenplay that I'm pretty sure that it doesn't say that it's a mannequin. But when I was going to prepare to shoot the film, I thought there's no way I'm going to ask an actress to do the things that the character does, right? There's no way that
The
it was just,
saxophone to the
yeah,
butt,
to the groin.
to the
It
groin
was
area.
too much, and also because I have not made anything before, so it just now maybe I could ask someone like, hey, see this movie, and if you want to be part of it, now you know what you're getting it. But we shot on really shady places, so I thought there's no way. And but again, one of those like deeper levels of meanings, there's a local legend here where I'm from, Hermosillo, and I didn't realize this like until halfway making the movie, that here in Hermosillo, a very famous legend is about a homeless person who fell in love with a mannequin on a store, on a window of a store, and the mannequin was dressed in a wedding gown. And that's something that's super interesting that I didn't realize that somehow unconsciously that came up in the movie. The mannequin is dressed in a wedding gown. And there's a lot of if there's a lot of stuff that you can have try to figure out about the movie. Like I told my friend Daniel Bellis, who made the poster, like I want this. My dream is for someone to make a Narco Shark explained video on YouTube. And actually somebody did. Like there's some guys on a podcast that watch the movie and they discuss it for like an hour. Like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
So it's that type of movie also. It's very silly, it's very stupid, fun movie to watch with your friends, but it's also a movie that if you think about it, it has different meanings and different things going on. That was the idea, was to make the Twin Peaks of exploitation films.
Yeah. That's great. That's amazing. All right. I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast. We're going to have Gerardo back on probably, sooner rather than later to actually do a movie. But we wanted to get this out to you since the Kickstarter is going live pretty soon, so we can get, like I said, as many ears and eyes on this as possible. But once again, could you let everybody know where they could follow you and where they could support you?
Yeah, as I said, just look my name is Gerardo Preciado. Is in Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is Música del Diable, Musique dai Diable, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah, I'll link it all in the show notes as well.
Yeah, but luckily there's not a lot of Gerardo Preciado, so or just look Narco Shark is gonna appear, and search for Tetractys on Kickstarter on the 18th. And I'm very excited for this and to make something different. That's the idea, is to make different things, and very aware again of making it entertaining, and very aware, like on the Kickstarter, like this is as you said, this will be my eighth, and I take it very serious to deliver the things. To making a movie is really hard, really hard. If you make everything or most of it yourself, is very hard. But I know, and now I've made Narco Shark. This movie I think is gonna be quicker. I think there's gonna be, like, we didn't talk about, but the fact that the face swap, the Tito thing, that took us months. That's what delayed the movie. The movie was, I think, that thing delayed the movie by 2 months easily. Like, with this movie would have been finished if we didn't have those problems in production. Like, if I knew, when Oscar said I can do it, if I knew the work that is going to be put into making that joke, I would not have done it. I would have recast it because it was too much. But at the end, I'm super happy that we did, because it's so strange. You've never seen a film like this.
No, never. That is 100% correct. You have never seen a movie like this. I've never seen an effect like that. It's so fucking funny. Like, I didn't have to go through the pain, but I'm happy that you did, just for that joke.
But that's only possible if you try and fail. And that's, I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of that. We failed at many things during the movie, but those things are what make it funny, or because they're incorporated in the story. That's what makes it funny. So yes, thank you so much for always being supportive. And again, as I said before, you were one of the persons who really gave me a little bit of confidence that maybe I could do this. I don't know if you regret this now, but
no, it's one of the
thank
happiest.
you for that.
Yeah, Gerardo, it's one of the happiest parts of, like, my creative life is running into you, because I showed you last year. I think you were my number one artist on Spotify, because I don't know, we didn't really go into it in this episode, but Gerardo does music for like fake movie soundtracks for movies that were made or were made in another universe, like you're saying. And so, like, that's how I knew him. That's what I knew of him. And then when I had him on the show, we just talked about what's next, making movies possibly. And that's where that came from. But like, the output that you do, and you're so prolific, especially with the soundtracks, right? I know movies take a lot longer, right? But your music, you're very prolific. You drop a bunch of, I mean, you slowed down with Narco Shark, but before that, you were pumping music out nonstop. So one thing I wanted to say was that you're saying it's about things being possible, like that shot being possible. This movie is largely only possible because of Kickstarters and people who are willing to, like, donate or not donate, but like back a project like this. So please keep that in mind when Gerardo drops the Kickstarter, when I put the post the episode and post the show on social media. Just keep that in mind. So yes, Gerardo, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. We'll have you on in the near future to talk about a movie, but for right now, I'm so excited. I'm so happy about Narco Shark. I'm happy to, can't wait to get like all the backer stuff and all that stuff. And I'm so excited for the next. And you, like, we'll talk about it, but you have a great eye for arts, because all your art that comes with, like, your movies and your posters and all that, it's just so good. So that's another thing that we could talk about. But let's end it here. Gerardo, thank you so much for being on. Everybody, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much. I'm really, really happy to talk to you. It's been a long time.
Live spooky, die spooky.